Dear Filipino people, I bet there was a time when you wanted to be white. Whether overt or hidden out of sight on the spectrum of skin lightening to assimilation, I'd bet for most of you I'm right. I know I did. And while I knew I'd never be Caucasian, I'd jump on any opportunity to portray myself as less Asian. I was a chameleon. I'd imitate whoever I was around, model all of my behavior from how I looked or how I'd sound on what my 90s suburban upbringing indoctrinated me to see. A world of leading men and protagonists who looked nothing like me. I just wanted to be desirable. But in Central Jersey, my features weren't exactly reliable, and attracting the opposite sex, pop culture convinced me this was undeniable, so instead, I'd blend. And to do so, I've gone so far as to offend other Asians who I treated with prejudice so I could falsely ascend my own lack of self-identity. Disguised with puka shells and collars popped to the point of obscenity, I assumed whiteness so that Asian meant Chinese, Japanese, anything instead of me till I fell in love with hip-hop. Specifically through the avenue of dance where stereotypes worked in my favor. White people didn't stand a chance. I then assumed blackness. My lack of self-identity shifted to fill my void with the people of color around me, endlessly more rhythmically gifted. I felt community. And for the first time truly acknowledged proudly my color, which is somewhere down the checkbox list commonly categorized by other. I checked it when I got my first real job, which was in sales back in my hometown, which drew varying identifiers from customers according to time of year and how brown my skin had turned. See, depending on if it was a summer in the sun or a winter sky, I could be the Mexican, last name Reyes, or that well-dressed Chinese guy. Race is inescapable. And I say this for whoever needs to hear it, racism is systemic. I felt it before I knew it. Mankind's oldest and most widespread pandemic. I'm talking to Filipinos because I think it's easy for us to forget that we're not marching the matter only because our stereotype doesn't include threat. Who's afraid of their nurse? Or their nanny, or their favorite server from last year's carnival cruise? Even Pacquiao isn't seen as violent. Just smiling and singing on ESPN News, but it goes deeper than that. We all know the ways in which we've been complicit, allowing racism in our homes by going out of our way to dismiss it. They're too old, right? Or it's their religion, or they're just from a different age, so we push skin bleaching from our minds while we break on the world of dance stage. We have to have these conversations. No matter how uncomfortable or grim, we have to break down generations of wag masyadong itim, and I know, I get it. We're not going to be able to change every mind, but we have to be consistently proactive, not selectively blind. I think we're uniquely equipped to help others see the world through a different set of eyes, and I think that the change that needs to come will only stick with an open and honest conversation about race in our lives. Stand with our black sisters and brothers. And if your efforts yield but one solitary heart, it's not much, but if we all do it, it's a start. Filipinos for Black Lives.